what is the root cause of loneliness? Because this is something that I have dealt with in my life a lot. And it's just been difficult for me to understand where it's coming from. It was my 21st birthday, and I, in America, that's when you become legal to drink alcohol. So a lot of people have like a crazy party and like get super drunk with like all their friends, and like it's just kind of a common thing to do, right? And I had spent it alone, and I just kind of felt like during that night I was going to sleep, I kind of felt, extremely lonely, and also I felt like I just didn't really want to wake up the next day. I was just like, that's how bad it was. So, and I've had other moments in my life where I felt similar. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, how the hell did I get out of that feeling? Because the craziest thing is I have felt lonely even in groups with friends, and everyone will be having a great time, and I'll be there like so isolated. It was like disconnection from everyone when everyone's right there next to me. So it really gets you to think, like, what's happening? Because it's obviously not 100% to do with not having people around me, and it's not 100% to do with having people around me. So obviously there's a big difference between being alone and feeling lonely. And so I guess that's like the first thing I learned, which is, okay, it's something that's going on with me and not the environment that I'm in, which was a big realization. But I still didn't understand where it was coming from. Like, where the hell? So frustrating. Because it's like I'm going to bed like with this feeling all the time. I'm waking up with this feeling. I'm with people with this feeling. I'm everywhere with this feeling, man. And I could not get over it. And I still sometimes recently have dealing with it. But I know now where it comes from. And I know how to realize what I'm doing and get past it. Even if I do it to this day. But so you're probably like, what the hell? Where did it come from? I think the first thing is to realize that you have to, I had to drop the idea of the things I was holding on to, right? Because first thing is we hold on to things that we like. And when we lose those things, or we feel like they don't matter, that's when we start to feel this loneliness. So it's like having the attachment to a person, but then you lose the person. Now you're lonely. Having attachment to anything. It could be literally anything. It could even be a desire for like a habit. If you have a habit and you're constantly in like this pattern of doing similar things each day, and then you lose it, that can make you feel a little bit like lost, a little bit lonely, a little bit, where am I in the world, because you had this thing you were attached to and you lost it. And so anything you can be attached to, it can be ideas, it can be people, it could be things, anything, and then you lose it, it can give you this feeling of being alone. And then So I decided, well, I'm just going to stop being attached to things, right? I'm just going to stop caring about things. And I'm just going to say, screw it, I don't care about anything, you know? And then that led me down a bad cycle, because it led me down a cycle of feeling like I don't care. And that not caring in itself also made me feel more isolated. For some reason, I'm like, why? How come when I don't care about anything around me or anybody else or any whatever, now I have this feeling of isolation again? So the question is, what do we do? How do I feel connected? Because I think the hardest thing to accept, that I had to accept, which is difficult, is that to feel lonely is actually to be self-centered, because you're seeing the world as you are separate from everything else. So you're seeing the world as like just yourself. And so that creates the ability to lose things, because you separate yourself from everything, making yourself kind of this independent, self-centered view of the world that you have, which is the hard thing to accept, that you have this, right? Like I have to accept that I am making myself the center, and then because I'm isolating myself away from everything else, then that's how I create this feeling of isolation, disconnection, and loneliness. And I have to accept that I'm kind of being self-centered and selfish, and it's all a self-centered view that I'm creating. And nobody wants to accept that, right? Nobody wants to be like, yeah, you know what, the reason I'm lonely is because I'm making myself different from you, right? Because when we see ourselves as the same as the other, and we can see ourselves in the things around us and the people around us, then we feel connected, and then we don't have that feeling of loneliness. It's easy to say all of these things, but to do it for yourself, right? You have to do it for yourself and really realize how you are creating this kind of wall, you know? But I think a lot of people do this, and it's not uncommon. I feel like it's very common for people to feel lonely. It's very common for people to have this self-centered view, and I think it's maybe the way that people have treated us or communicated with us. I think a lot of times communication creates a little bit of isolation, because how we say, you know, this is me, that's you. And then through the communication, we get this mindset of like separation, like everything is existing with these different labels. So then we create this idea of separation with the way we communicate. But also, if we drop all the words and really see the world for the way it is, and how everything is connected, and every time something happens there's a reaction to it, and nothing really exists on its own, you know, then you can start to really see the picture of the world the way it works, actually, which is nothing is isolated, everything is connected, and it's actually beautiful. And when you do something for someone else, that's you doing something for yourself. But that's like, really, once you fully understand this, you know what I mean? It's hard to just say that and then feel like the love that feeling would bring, when if you're not there, you know, if you're someone sitting in isolation and loneliness, in this feeling of disconnection, we condition, our mind is conditioned to think like this and be like this. So just because I'm saying what's helped me doesn't mean it's just gonna instantly fix all your problems, right? You have to really sit with yourself and be aware of your own thoughts, and how those thoughts are creating feelings, and how those feelings are creating your actions, and then how your actions, and everything is all linked together. So, and then you have to be able to break the pattern that you have that's creating this feeling of isolation. Like I said, there's many different ways that you could be doing this. Like, you could be feeling lonely because you were attached to a person and they left you. You could be that's obviously a really common one, but you have this feeling of you felt comfortable in an area, like a location. You felt really like, wow, you know everything about this location. Then you moved locations, and now because you moved out of that location and you feel a little lost, now you feel lonely. So there's so many different ways that we create this feeling of like, I'm disconnected from myself. But when you realize that you see, I'm disconnected from myself. See, there's two people in that saying. There is the person who is aware that myself is disconnected. So all you have to do is just figure out how to reconnect with who you actually are, which is you're a part of everything. And once you do that, then your loneliness will go away, and it will just vanish right before your eyes, and you will feel, I felt like so much, I don't even know how to describe it, because it's like a feeling, and words really, like what I've been trying to say is words are such a problem. I feel like we try to create words that describe feelings that are impossible to describe, because it's not like tangible, you know what I'm saying? But I guess if I had to describe the feeling that I got when I went from feeling lonely and shifted into this feeling of feeling connected, it was like the most loving feeling of acceptance. Like, you, no matter what happens, you're always like going to be a part of this. But it was like I am what I'm seeing. Like, I am what I see. And that's just that's the clearest way to put it. I am what I see. That's it. So I hope you learned something or found value in this video that I'm making, because I'm just learning how to live with love instead of fear in my life. And I think I think a lot of people try to do the same thing, or they're searching for something similar, but I think we get lost in so many different ways. So But yeah, maybe not everyone is doing that, but you know what? That's what I'm doing. So if you leave a comment, I read everything, and I really appreciate the comments, honestly. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video.